the Nocturnal Therapist here, and I'm gonna do a quick shout out. I'm gonna talk about liminal space, but I want to do a quick shout out to Hannah from Canada and all of her friends, all of her loved ones. Y'all have somebody who really cares for y'all, and this one is for y'all based off of what she told me. So liminal space. If you're feeling stagnant, if you're feeling like things are complacent, and on the emotional scale, it feels like you're sort of kind of in this place of emotional purgatory, where you neither really feel all of the life you could be feeling, but you don't feel as low as you know you could feel. So I'm gonna put that in the box of liminal space. Liminal space is an in-between place. It is the discomfort that exists in that in-between place. So what you typically see with people who have liminal space is, if you ever been on a theme park ride where there's a tightrope, you walked on the tightrope, and as you walk on the tightrope, you know that as you advance down the field, what occurs is the hoops that you're grabbing onto. So on this tightrope, you're grabbing on hoops as you're advancing. Excuse me, they got mosquitoes down here in Louisiana. But you're grabbing onto these hoops as you're advancing. As you continue to advance, the hoops spread wider and wider apart, forcing you to do a little bit more stretching than you did the last time. What you see at the very most advanced parts of the obstacle course is people doing this right here. Just, and what you see typically there also is that the line is being held up. Why is the line being held up? Because at that point, it's so advanced down the course that the person literally has to let go of the hoop they've been holding on to grab hold of the hoop that's in front of them in order to advance. And so it's in that space of discomfort because they're looking at the fact that they could fall off this tightrope, and before they could hold on to this thing back here and continue to advance. But now, in this space, they have come so far that they must let go of what they've been holding on to grab hold of something new. And so I liken that analogy, that comparison to where a lot of us are right now, the state of feeling of emotional purgatory, where we neither feel excitement like we're fully alive, like we're actually living, but at the same time we may not be as low as we have been before, or we know we can go, you know. In this space, what I would encourage you to do is to look at the opportunities in front of you. Not the opportunities that you think that you know are there, but the opportunities that could be there if you were looking just a little bit harder. And the reason why I say that is because this is unconventional times. Because of this being unconventional times, I know that there are unconventional opportunities out there for us as well. For those of us who are feeling stagnant, if we're feeling like we're just not really moving at a fast pace or at a pace at all, we're moving at a snail's pace, I would ask you to go back to what you're passionate about and think about doing some of those things that you put off or you may have thought was just a hobby. So what if it's culinary arts? I love to eat. Down here in Louisiana, we all love to eat. Culinary arts is awesome. So if you had it in your heart that was a passion of yours to learn culinary arts, then now is the time for you to do that. If you wanted to learn how to skateboard, now is the time to do that. Whatever passion you have, right now is the time for you to really sit down with yourself and understand how to develop a relationship with that, because intentionality reflects relationship. And so we can't just keep that up here, these passions that we have. There's nothing wrong with you having excitement doing what the hell you want to do in life. There's nothing wrong also with you making a living off of what it is that you love to do. I do it. So during this time of liminal space where you feel the discomfort of having to let go of something old to grab hold of something new, I want you to remember the Chinese symbol for crisis. The Chinese symbol for crisis is a combination of the words danger and opportunity. Danger and opportunity. Many of us are in a crisis state. A crisis is simply defined as an inability to cope with the present circumstances. These times are presenting new circumstances. The pandemic, COVID, vaccines, what's going on with that, business, the way that business is changing, the way that the markets are changing. These are unconventional times. And during these unconventional times, some of us, because we're facing things that we never had to face before, may feel like we're in that panic state, almost to the point to where we're almost about to have that anxiety attack, feeling like a crisis is near. I want you to understand that with a crisis, there may be danger that you're perceiving, but even that's an illusion, because the only thing we have to fear is fear itself. But danger may be there, but also with great danger comes great opportunity. And the only danger that really is before you that you may not see is the danger of allowing your dreams to die in the ground. So if you're feeling in this place of stagnation, if you're feeling like you're stuck, like you're just not going anywhere, what I would ask you to do is choose. Choose. No, the conventional choices may not be there. The choices that those that have expectations on you to choose, those choices or opportunities may not be there. But what I would encourage you to do is sit down with yourself and figure out what it is that your most authentic self would choose in this moment. And do that and nothing but that.
I guess probably the first place to start is, what is human design? I don't think a lot of people have heard of it. It's not really that mainstream yet, although I think it's kind of starting to catch on. And I'll just straight up, like, I'm not an expert on this. This is something that I'm just starting to really get into and apply to my own life, and I'm continuing to learn about. So give that disclaimer. But yeah, human design is basically like a system, I would say, of science and spirituality, that basically kind of dives in to figure out like who you came here to be, what you're here to do, and like what your highest potential looks like. And yeah, it comes from different schools of wisdom. So we have like some astrology stuff in there, some chakra stuff, but also some science based on like the particles. This sounds very woo-woo. I will also say that, but the particles that were floating around when you were born. So little, like I said, it's on the woo-woo scale, but when you dig into it, it's so cool because it really, I would say, affirms that we are so different and unique and all have like these abilities and skills and characteristics about ourselves that are just so different. And you're meant to be exactly who you are. I think the biggest takeaway and the thing that struck me the most at the very beginning when I found out about it, and when I went through and started watching videos on it and stuff, was, so I'm a manifesting generator, which is a combination of two types. So I guess for those that aren't super familiar, there is projectors, reflectors, and I think reflectors are like a very small, like 1% of the population. Manifestors, generators, and then the combination of manifesting generators. So that last one is what I am. And so this kind of gave me the affirmation. Yeah. Yeah. This gave me the affirmation that it is okay to be excited about many different things. So I guess kind of backtracking, like I grew up feeling like I didn't really know what I wanted to do. Like I had to pick this one thing because that's what you're told growing up and through high school. And it's like, you know, find the career you like and pick one thing to do. And so I was always very all over the place with that. I had like 20 different career ideas before I graduated. I couldn't figure out what I wanted to do, so I didn't do any of them. I worked and I traveled for the first couple of years that I graduated. Basically just felt like I didn't have my shit together. And what manifesting generators really can do is, like, they're multi-passionate people. So they are people who are meant to be experimenters of life and to learn from their experiences and to just like take it all in and do everything. And so it's not a bad thing. And that was like the biggest takeaway for sure. Like, I'm here to do more than one thing. I can, and I'm very capable of doing more than one thing. And I don't have to just like fit into this box of what society says I should be doing, because that's not who I'm meant to be. Do you know what your strategy is?
Yes, my strategy is to wait to be invited, which also was, I found profound, Yeah. So, I mean, would you like to tell us about waiting to be invited? Or you know about that, or you want me?
No, mine's responding. So you.
Oh, I got that one. I got that one.
Yeah.
I thought you went. But yeah, basically, because the message that I have, according to the chart, it said the message that I have is so advanced that literally the only way people can even hear me is if they invite me into that space. And so my strategy, according to the chart, is to wait to be invited. And then I decide whether I want to accept that invitation or not. And so I thought that sucked because I'm pretty much like a vampire, right? You know, I was like, yo, I'm vamping it out now. Like, come on, man. Like, you know, I mean, well, my name is Nocturnal Therapist. I guess that could be a little vamp-like, you know, whatever, you know. But then it went on to say that, no, there's another gift that I have, and that is the gift of magnetism. That whenever I sit back and just chill and just be myself, that activates the natural magnetism that I have. And then opportunities, the reason why I don't need to search for opportunities is because opportunities find me, people find me, authentic connection find me, you know. So they pretty much told me that, you know, I finish at the start line. Like,
so the whole idea about human design is we're all born with these passions and as our highest selves. And as we grow up with the experiences that we have and over time, we start to get conditioned to what society expects of us, what our parents expect of us, what, you know, whatever's going on in the world. And yeah, that I think really prevents us from showing up as our most authentic self. And so, yeah, what human design really does is allows us to embrace that. And like I said, just like see our gifts as these natural, powerful gifts rather than things that are kind of, you know, dragging us down or these expectations that aren't serving us. Like I said, you're born as your highest self. You get conditioned over time to think that these things, like I said, for me, jumping all over the place, being like having a million different things that I want to do seems like a bad thing because of how we are, like, have this homogenized society. Take these steps, do these things, be the same. And that's just not how we are.
Yes, yes. And so some of the things that I discovered, being a projector, they said I have the gift of being an X-ray into people. And so they said, because of this, I'm more of a surgeon, I'm more of a scalpel. And so I exert a lot of energy. I pour myself into my connections. And so they said I should limit working with people like one-to-one between 2 to 3 hours a day, and that the rest of the day is really spent with me consuming information because that gives me the ability to create more.
There's probably one more thing that we can dive into, which would be the authority, which is how you make decisions. For me, it is my human design authority is listening to my gut. And that was a major affirmation as well, because I've always had a strong intuition. Whether I trusted it, not always the case. So really, like, knowing that that's what I need to do when I have that gut feeling, like, it's always right. And it proves itself right time and time again. So it's another thing, both in life and in business, that have been really important to look at.
I'm the mental authority, which is another really rare authority. And so I'm supposed to just sit back and just, you know, just look at stuff and just analyze stuff for myself. You know, it even said, so say this real quick, that I have this natural aloofness, like, right. It said I have a natural aloofness to other people's like perceptions. And so sometimes I may not understand like a message, you know, that somebody is sending if they're trying to project a belief onto me. Like if they're trying to project anything that is not inherent to me, you know, that's something that's inherited, anything that's of tradition, anything that's really of the mind, I have this natural aloofness that's supposed to protect me from that so that I don't get pulled down and get stuck in that illusion, you know? And so that I found was uncanny too, because it said that, and another thing that forces me to connect with other people is that I have to talk to other people in order to understand myself. When you were in liminal space, what was your biggest liminal space moment and how did you choose authenticity in that space?
Yeah, so for a long time, I wouldn't have really been able to pinpoint that. And I think there have been multiple moments. But I guess the last time we moved, so we live in a city called Kelowna now, and we had just moved here and I got this job doing sales because I wanted to make myself a little uncomfortable and learn some skills. So I did that. And I got to this space where I just wanted to quit so bad and stop doing it. And I just felt like it was a struggle. And yeah, felt like I was in that space. Like I'm ready for the next thing, but I don't know what it's going to be. And then I think I can't remember if it was on a podcast or some sort of video series or something, but one of the mentors that I follow in the marketing space said this line, and it's like, no amount of struggle or hustle will ever compensate for a lack of alignment. And that was like this huge, like, poof, and I was like, oh shit. Because that's what I felt like. I was like, I'm struggling. I was working these like ridiculous 10-hour days and like barely, had weird schedules with my partner and stuff. And it's just not what I wanted to be doing. I wanted to be focusing on my own thing and getting into the online stuff that I had been like trying to get started for a couple of years before that. And then, so that was kind of my like big message. And that's the one thing that I can pinpoint, being like, all right, let's do it. And I quit my job. Colby supported me for like a month, and then he got a little nervous. And so I got a serving job, which is great, which I won't blame that on him. It's okay.
Yeah.
But so I got a serving job part-time where I was like making good money and good tips, but still had enough time to work on stuff. And that's kind of how I was able to get started. So